Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to Wasteland Talks, my weekly talk show where I talk about whatever the hell I want. And this is a new version, a new segment of ranking here on Wasteland Talks. And we're doing this for a spooky season. And I have one of my best friends, Haley, joining me and fellow horror movie. She's my horror movie buddy. And specifically, we were both huge fans of Mike Flanagan. So we are going to be ranking his work. Preface this, neither of us have seen any of his like three like early movies, and Haley has seen two that I haven't seen, and I've seen one she hasn't seen. So just kind of throwing our cards on the table. But Haley, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being willing to talk about Mike Flanagan. I feel like this is, I was surprised you hadn't talked about him yet, and I'm like really psyched that we get to have this chat.
Well, originally this was going to be a what if Mike Flanagan made the original Exorcist video. And then my planned guest didn't work out, and my backup guest didn't work out. And then I'm like, I'm gonna ask Haley, but we're not gonna do that idea. We're just gonna figure something else out. And this is what it turned into. And then maybe next Halloween we'll do the other idea, which is our top horror films. But yes, we're gonna talk about some Mike Flanagan here. Haley's gonna go from her list from bottom to top, and then I will do the same. At that point, we'll be going a lot quicker, but we'll do a little discussion of each of these as Haley goes through her list. But Haley, what is at the bottom of your list?
All right, so I watched a number of these movies for the first time because, a little bit of background. I knew Mike Flanagan from his shows. I generally have a very high opinion of them, as you will see from my lists. But at the same time, you know, you get a feel of like what he is like as a director and everything from the way he makes his shows. But watching more of his movies did give me like a good insight into how he is as a movie director. And in some cases, there's like overlap, and in other cases, I feel like he's a different kind of like there were things I wasn't expecting. Um, and so yeah, we'll talk about that. But one thing I've realized now about Mike Flanagan as a director, and I both like and dislike this about him. It kind of depends on the context, but he seems like a guy who really buys into the source material that he is using, or like even the source concept. Because
Mhm.
and the reason I'm bringing this up now is because my bottom pick is VHS Beyond.
Okay.
Um, and I will say, I've seen a couple VHS movies. Um, this was a VHS movie. Like, he understood the assignment. And I think overall, for a VHS movie, he did a decent job of it. I just personally think that the VHS format is like, eh. Like, it's if you have a group of people who like just like slasher slash like like campfire story-esque kind of stuff, then it's fine. Throw it on. Like no harm done. But if you're I don't know. I think if you're more invested in like the build of horror, right? Because there has like for me, I like following it from start to finish. And these little mini things, like they can be creepy and they've got the shock value, but I just think they're not as effective. And um but again, like he clearly like set out to make a movie that fits what others have done before. Like he wasn't like, I'm Mike Flanagan, I'm gonna do my own thing. He was like, no, I am making a VHS movie, so here you go. Here's a VHS movie. Um, so like I don't think he did a terrible job necessarily. I'm just not that into it, and that's partly why it's on the bottom of my list. Um,
So I know for VHS Beyond, he wrote one of the segments, which is Stowaway. What's interesting is actually is his wife directed it.
oh,
Um,
really?
yep,
Interesting.
Kate Siegel was the one who actually directed that segment of Beyond, which I've been super into all of the VHS movies for the past like 6 years since I've been getting screeners, and I've gotten a screener for every single one of them over the past like 5, 6 years.
Nice.
Beyond was not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think they're the like 84 and 99, those ones I liked a lot more. And
Mm,
even the most recent Halloween one I liked a lot. This was an interesting step in terms of like doing more sci-fi kinds of ones. I'm trying to
hmm.
remember which one was the one that
Yeah, I'm
I
trying to think.
really did enjoy, because like this was interesting because like Justin Long directed one of these segments, the Fur Babies one.
Was that the
And
first one with the cops who busted into that like zombie house?
I'm trying to
Maybe. Because I
so it
actually thought that one was pretty solid.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I watched this. Which one's which? Because to be frank, I wouldn't
I,
even be able to tell you. I
yeah.
just know the one that really got me was the alien one with, well, yeah, the skydiving one with
Oh,
the
right.
aliens.
Yeah.
One of those jump scares made Jess yarp a guttural noise that the jump scare didn't scare me, but the noise she made scared the shit out of me and all three cats.
That's so funny.
So
Yeah, so
just
like the
putting
clips
that
were
out
pretty
there.
decent, like for like because I've
Yeah.
seen some like bad some of the bad VHS movies where I'm like these some of these clips are just so dumb. Like
I think
overall,
the
most of the
first
clips
couple
were
ones,
solid.
I think it
Oh
took
wait,
them a
Fur
few.
Babies was the one with the demented kennel. I did
Oh,
not like
oh God.
that.
That just brought that back. Yep. Yep. That was Justin
I
Long
didn't need
directed
that.
that
It was so
with, I guess, his brother, maybe. It's Christian Long who directed it with him. Wild. But
why,
yeah,
Christian? Why?
so Mike Flanagan did write a bit of a VHS film, dabbled in it. So, but Haley is not a big fan of VHS movies, so there you go. It is all good. But yeah, what's next?
So I think maybe the next one might be a similar situation. I'm not sure if he was the sole director of this, so call me out if I'm wrong. But this is again like an example of me feeling like the development wasn't all there, and I would have liked more. I don't know. I just had it felt a little flat, and that is Midnight Club, the Midnight Club, the show, which
Not gonna lie, this is the bottom of my list
yeah,
of the things that he's directed. It's fine. It's
right.
it's like a fun idea. And like the million jump scare story was like, I knew what they were going for and stuff like that. It just didn't feel quite Mike Flanagan compared to, especially like compared to the rest of his Netflix shows. It's like they're all
Right.
leaps and bounds better than this show.
Yeah,
Oddly
it's
enough, the
weird.
only one that had a planned second season.
It's rough because but I think that was part of the issue, is that the fact that
Mhm.
it even needed a second season, this guy is good at like getting in, taking you through an absolute emotional roller coaster, and then remarkably like wrapping it up. Like
Hmm.
people generally don't do that in shows, and I love that because, you know, it doesn't get a chance to make it worse or like stretch it on too long. And this felt half-baked. I didn't
Hmm.
care about the characters nearly as much as I would have wanted to. Like a couple of them I did, but the main character, for some reason, I just couldn't summon very much enthusiasm for, which is
Hmm.
just sad, right? Because these are supposed to be like dying kids. It's like supposed to be the most heart-wrenching concept, imaginable. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think most people are aligned on this one, but that's
Yeah, and it's, well, at least the Fall House of Usher came out after this one, but like
Mhm.
this was like the one that really was like, them canceling this was one of Mike Flanagan's last straws of being like, screw you, Netflix, I'm going
Mm,
elsewhere. Which
hmm
he created the show, he wrote on all the episodes, he directed two of them.
mm,
Because Well, I think only two of these shows he directed every single episode, and it's the Haunting a Hill House and Midnight Mass, which
Mm,
I think that says a lot that he's the
yeah.
one that directed both of all of those episodes. So, but we'll get there. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, the Midnight Club, not the best.
Yeah. Alas. You know, you
Alas.
can't win them all. Still, this guy has a very good, like, we are very quickly going to get into the territory of like, this was solid, and now I just have to make some really hard decisions.
Fair.
But yeah, so my next one is a movie that I think you had said maybe you hadn't seen, and I had not seen it until we decided to go
Mhm.
through this exercise. So, that is Before I Wake.
Yes,
So,
this is one of the two I have not seen.
this movie is comparatively low on the list, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's fine. It's
Mhm.
and I like horror as a genre. I like supernatural horror, and this falls into that camp. So it was in my wheelhouse. And I've seen a lot of, bad horror movies. So really, like, this is not a bad horror movie. I think this
Mm.
was a decent horror movie, which decent is already like good. Like if it's
Yes.
not bad, I'm thrilled. Um, the thing that I think takes me out of this one a little bit, the very basic premise, uh, is, because Mike Flanagan, like he does stuff emotionally with you. Like he won't pull his punches. Um, it's the basic premise is that it's a couple who are adopting a child because they lost their own child, and they're, clearly trying to get past that by giving a new child another start. But this kid has had like he's been moved from home to home to home, and you find out why. Um, really, the concept was good. The acting was pretty good. The effects, like they made some leaps with, you
Mm.
know, and I think that kind of takes me out of things a little bit when the effects are a little too cheesy.
Mhm.
Um, but still, like overall, it was a pretty solid movie. And so I would say if you're the type of person who isn't like super picky and you would like a solid movie, like it's worth watching.
What's interesting, so yes, I have not seen this one, but I know some of the imagery from it. I like immediately recognize because I'm looking at some of the pictures on IMDb, and it's like
Hmm.
the blue butterfly on
Yeah.
Thomas Jane's hand. Like I've
Hmm.
seen that before. I'm a big Thomas Jane fan. I think he's a really underappreciated actor. Um,
He does great. He
mhm.
does really well in this movie, I think.
He's so great in The Mist, and then
Hmm.
I think he was poorly done to with the Punisher movie he was saddled with wasn't as great as
Mm.
the performance he was giving. Kate Bosworth is not someone like, oh my God, I love Kate Bosworth, but I think she's a does a fine job. And like Jacob Tremblay being in this, who obviously has become pretty regular in
Hmm.
a lot of Mike Flanagan's projects. He's a extremely talented kid who is
Hmm.
now God, kid's 19 years old and looks like a man now.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he popped up in the life of Chuck, and I'm like, oh my God, he's so big now.
I
Because
don't
like
even think I realized that that was the same person. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
he was the last one. Like the you see Jacob Tremblay at the very end of Life of Chuck. That
Oh.
version of Chuck. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
like
I wouldn't have realized that.
this is the kid from Room. Like this kid
Yeah.
absolutely killed it. So, but no, Before I Wake is on my watch list, so I will get around there sometime for
Yeah, let me
sure.
know what you think. Again, I think the emotion is there. I'm bad with names, but the lead woman, the one who plays the mom, she's a little less on point than the dad, in my
Mm.
opinion. Part of that could just be like purposeful. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
overall, like like I said, solid. It's low, but
and
it's only because other things are better, and like this guy
fair.
knows how to make stuff.
Next
Okay,
up,
yes. Next is Hush.
okay.
So, again, I would say we are already in the realm of like this was a good movie. Like I
Mm.
I liked this movie. It was definitely nerve-wracking. Um, it's the kind of horror though, and this is where I'm gonna be honest, like I think the movie was very well made. I think the acting was excellent.
Mm.
Um, I love when they do a lot with a little, uh, in terms of like, the setting and stuff. Um, I just get with some of these situations where people are making decisions, and I'm like, no, you would not do that. That was the only thing about this movie that got me a little bit like, okay, like, come on. I just don't think you would do that. I don't think either of the two people would have done a lot of the things that happened in this movie. Um, which, like, who really knows? But it takes me out of it a little bit because I'm just like, there's nothing supernatural going on here. These are just hu two, like, rational human beings, like, to the extent that, like, a psychotic person can be rational, but, you know, anyway. So that's the only reason it's lower on the list is because I'm like I had to really suspend my belief in
Disbelief.
certain cases.
I think especially as the film goes on into like the third act, there's some elements where it's like, you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but this is a nice, lean 82-minute film. Love
Mm,
to see it. Um, it might even be a little bit long for that. Because like
true.
this is a very simple high concept idea.
Hmm.
And you have a deaf mute writer who has a home invader,
Hmm.
can hear them and everything. And this is his wife, Kate Siegel,
Mm,
who plays her. And then John Gallagher Jr., I think, is a really talented actor. He's the man.
hmm.
And I do really enjoy this movie, but it is pretty low on my list just from the fact that like there's so many other deeper and richer films that he has made up to this point. So I do enjoy Hush. But it's not one that I like love.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then I feel similarly about Oculus, which is the
mhm.
next movie on my list. Um, this is one that I saw maybe not when it came out, but shortly after. So it's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember like thinking this was a good movie. Like I enjoyed this movie. It was well done. This was before I think either Flanagan wasn't really on my radar or like I don't think I realized he had done this, but it was good. And I would say like for an average scary movie, I'd recommend it. If someone hadn't seen it, I'd be like, yeah, let's throw it on. But now that I know like what Flanagan is capable of, I just think, okay, we could, there are things that he has now refined his craft.
Yeah.
Um, but it's supernatural horror, which again, I prefer.
Mm.
Um, I like the things that go more into the supernatural and are less into the like gratuitous violence and stuff like that.
You want to hear something really funny why I checked this movie out in the first place?
Why?
You know who produced this? WWE Films.
What? What? I was like, what
So
does WWE stand for a hot second? Because it was such a random thing. I didn't even know what that, like, I didn't
this
make the connection for
I
a second.
think this was the first film that they co-produced that didn't star any of the wrestlers in it.
Oh, I see. So they produce movies that the wrestlers act in. Okay, that would make sense, but that is
So,
still
well,
very
be,
random.
because initial, so they made See No Evil starring Kane as like
Mm.
a serial killer.
Hmm.
And then The Marine with John Cena in it, and then all
Hmm.
the five Marine sequels that they made with a bunch of like Randy Orton and The Miz and a bunch of the wrestlers. But no, this film was produced by WWE Films and was one of the reasons why I checked it out in the first place. And I did not expect much of anything because most of the WWE
Yeah,
films were like not good. But
right.
like I'm like, who is this Mike Flanagan guy? Because this is the first ever Mike Flanagan thing that I've watched. Because I did
Dang.
watch this back in like 2014, probably. And
Mm-hmm.
even looking back now at this cast is incredible. Katie, I love Katie Sackhoff from she was Bo-Katan in like Star Wars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the mother. And he is like terrifying those moments where she's like at that point. I had no idea who Karen Gillan was at that point because this was even before like Guardians of the Galaxy with her being Nebula and everything. I thought she was great, and Annalise Basso, who has become a regular in a lot of Mike Flanagan's wars, who plays younger Karen
Mm.
Gillan. Like, I just thought the cast was great, and they did some interesting things with the mirror, and I distinctly remember the ending of this being very shocking and like emotionally like just hit in a certain way. But it was an interesting idea playing around with like this evil mirror and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked this movie. It's still lower on my list only because of what else is to come, but I do like Oculus a lot.
Right. Like on another director's list, this would be a lot higher.
Yeah.
It just so happens that we're dealing with a guy who like really knows what he's doing.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving on. The next couple are hard for me, but
Mhm.
I ended up saying like it could kind of go a number of ways, but I think the next on my list is The Fall of the House of Usher, the show.
Yep.
Um, I liked this show. Again, like if someone else had done this show, I'd be like, this show is fantastic. It was very good.
Yeah.
It's just not as good as like
Yeah.
the others. But that's again not saying a whole lot because really, like I really liked it. Um, again, let's talk about the source material. Like I love this homage to Edgar
Yeah.
Allan Poe. I'm a fan of his works, and I enjoyed the way he kind of melded these things. And some of it's like very obvious, but some of it's a little more subtle. It depends on how familiar you are with his stuff. And then, like the the story plays out, it's compelling. Probably
Mm.
my only beef with this show is that I just again didn't care about the characters as much as I did in the others. And I know that's kind of maybe
The
on
point
purpose because they're
because
bad,
yeah, a lot of the kids especially
right?
are terrible.
But
Terrible for
it's
sure.
but it's too bad, right? Because one of the
Mhm.
things that Flanagan does so well, we've already touched on this, is like really get you in the feels. Like it's not just about being scary, it's about being emotionally involved in what's going
There's
on.
some distance here, and I think that's why this one doesn't resonate as much.
Right.
So I 100% get that. And have you, so what's very interesting is I just watched Fall of House of Usher, the film with Vincent
Oh.
Price in it, which is like a direct adaptation of just that story.
Mm,
Um, Vincent Price is in it, so it was at least very entertaining because of Vincent Price. But
hmm
obviously, this is a very loose adaptation of Fall of House of Usher. And then a whole, like each episode is taking another one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. And
hmm
um, some of the, like that club one got me bad. Um,
Yeah.
the Kate Siegel with
Mm,
was it a chimp? I'm trying to remember.
um, oh
They were doing
gosh.
some kind of animal testing or
Oh
something or
yeah.
other,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she
yeah,
gets
yeah.
like brutally just destroyed. I'm like, holy crap. But like, there's so many of his frequent flyers that pop
hmm
up in this. Like,
hmm
obviously, his wife, Kate Siegel, Henry Thomas, which I'm
hmm
really happy that he's got, because like that, Henry Thomas is the kid from E.T., right? Yeah,
No, I did not know that. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So like his whole adult movie career and acting career really came back because of Mike Flanagan in a lot of ways. And then I love Bruce Greenwood in this. He is
Mm,
so good as Roderick Usher.
hmm.
And then Carlo Gugino is so good in so many things, and I don't think she gets enough credit for a lot of stuff. But her as this mysterious woman coming through there, and
Yes.
then like
Yes.
Mark Hamill. Um, and I love Carl Lumley, who is Dupin, the
Mm,
guy who's talking to him through this whole entire thing. And I was a big fan of him in Alias, that show. That's how I knew who Carl Lumley is. And he's in a bunch of Mike Flanagan's work, but like this whole cast is fantastic. But yeah, there is a bit of a distance emotionally from it, but like intellectually and artistically and like horror wise, this was scratching a lot of itches.
yes.
Um,
It's a really like moody, dark, and I don't fun is the wrong word to use, but it's like it is compelling. Like I
yeah,
was the parts of me that like the horror genre were engaged, and I
yeah,
really was locked in, and I enjoyed the whole thing. I
mm,
just wasn't as, yeah, like,
emotionally invested.
yeah. So,
Because
like,
some of
again,
his
if someone
others,
else did it,
yeah,
it would have been
some
their
of his
best
other
work.
shows really get
Yes. So much so.
so much. What's next?
All right. So, next we have Ouija Origin of Evil. Um, Excellent movie. Like, we have now crossed into the these
Yep.
are really good movies category. Um, I again like saw this at random. It's a prequel to a
To
much worse
really
movie.
a really bad movie.
Like, yeah, it has no right to be as good as it is,
No.
but the thing that makes this movie as good as it is, I mean, first of all, obviously it's well directed, well acted, well thought out, like all of that, yes.
Yeah.
But it also has that Flanagan flair of the stuff happening in the background, which
Yes.
like freaks me out endlessly. And he's like the master of that. And that
Deep
movie
focus
pulls it
is
out a bit.
so uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Um, one of the most haunting images in this whole entire movie is where the boyfriend kid is sticking his
Yes.
arm in the hole in the wall, and you just see
Yes. Yes. Yes.
little girl in the background. I'm like, no, no. What's interesting, Haley, is this. I think this was the first horror movie I ever saw in a theater
Wow, this is a good one. Like it's a
because
solid movie in
I'm a
general.
big baby and this scared the shit out of me. I remember sitting in the theater being like this like a bunch of times watching this because this is legitimately terrifying at
Hmm.
times. I think the biggest negative I could say about this movie is how badly they had to shoehorn in that this is a prequel to something else. Because like
Yeah.
there was a really the final scare in this movie though gets me really bad.
Yeah.
Just gonna say crawling across the ceiling. That but like that felt so shoehorned in and everything because they had to because they were trying like, well, it has to connect to Ouija. I'm like, but does it? But this is fantastic. Like, I actually rewatched this relatively recently at home, way too late at night
Uh-oh.
because then it took
Yeah.
shit out of me. It works so well from a scare standpoint. I really like Elizabeth Razor a lot, who plays the mom. Like
Hmm.
she's one of those kind of actors that I don't think about a whole lot, but when she does pop up and stuff, I really like her in it.
Hmm.
Annalise Basso, who was also an Oculus, is the
Hmm.
older daughter. And Lulu Wilson, such a talented young actor who played the youngest daughter, and she's so good in this. She's in the Becky movies. I don't know if you've ever heard of those. But and
No.
then Henry Thomas is the priest. And that hurt when he
Yeah.
gets possessed at that point. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, because again,
And
you care about these characters. Like he
yep,
did it. These are characters, like the mom struggling to like with her kid. Like, yeah, it gets you, and it feels very real. It's not like going over the top, but it's you empathize with their situation, and then it's like this, you know, then things get freaky, and you're like, well, I don't want these characters to die.
scary little girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Scary little girl. The second she started picking up the eyeglass for
Oh
the
yeah,
Ouija
right.
board, and just like,
You're like,
nope,
don't do that. Don't do
nope,
that. Stop that.
don't do that. But no, this one is fantastic. I really like this a lot.
Nice.
Next up,
All right. We are now at Life of Chuck. We have
okay.
entered the Stephen King
Yep,
world. So, and actually, let me talk about my next two at the same time because it's Life of Chuck and it's Gerald's Game.
okay,
Um, and I flip-flopped back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But so and I was telling this to Shane, so for the viewers out there, I did not see Doctor Sleep. And there's a reason for that. It's because I don't watch Stephen King things until I've read the source material. It's just a rule I have, and I haven't gotten around to Doctor Sleep. It's like on my list, but he's like all this stuff is getting cranked out. I have so many things I need to like
yeah,
read, and I'm a big reader anyway. I have other stuff on my list. So that one is not on my list, but I ended up reading, I got this from my local library, If It Bleeds, which
nice.
is the anthology of short stories that Life of Chuck is a part of. So I read that before watching the movie in order to have this conversation, and I'd heard great things about the movie. Um, it is a great movie.
Mhm.
Uh, it is touching. It absolutely like ravages your feelings. Um,
Yes,
but the reason I ended up putting it a little bit lower than Gerald's Game is simply because I think, and I do not say this often, especially not about Stephen King, but I think Mike Flanagan was so true to the source material that he actually might have missed a couple chances even to like make the story m more effective. There were a couple little things he did add, and those things I thought were good. And that's what made me think like the short story is good. It really is. Um, but I think it's like it's an artistic thing, right? Like,
yeah,
and I'm telling you, if you've seen this movie, you have read that story. It is a dead ringer.
yes, it
Like
is.
an absolute dead ringer. And I kind of felt like, I don't want to say it fell flat. I think that's unfair. Because again, this was a good movie and because the story is good. But I think Flanagan is a really talented guy. And like the little couple of things that he added to enhance the story really helped. And I would have liked to see him maybe do a little more instead of being so blunt in the interpretation. Um, because I could just see some people maybe being like, I don't know, like not being as compelled by the story?
This movie is extremely polarizing, actually.
Oh, really?
Um, yes, because I know the most cynical of movie fans that I know did not like this at
Hmm.
all. I'll say this is my number three movie of 2025. I love Life of Chuck. And I did read the short story afterwards
Hmm.
and realizing that I think the movie's better than the short story because
Yeah.
there are specific things that Mike Flanagan did with the film that did make it better and
Hmm.
added some layers that you can't do
Right.
um written
Right.
unless you spend a lot of time describing the characters.
Yes.
Because the choice to have I don't want to give anything away of what this movie actually is about because I went in blind and I was mesmerized by this. But
Mm,
the choices of the actors playing multiple parts
hmm.
and how that fit together, it
Yeah.
doesn't translate on paper in
No.
the same way that seeing it does.
Hmm.
But the this movie had some of the most cathartic moments I've had watching a movie in a long time. That dance,
Yeah.
multiple dances
Yeah.
in this. And honestly, the final moments of the movie like hit me so hard. And there's just something profound about it. And the
Oh,
cast was
absolutely.
fantastic. Um, I fell in love with what's Mia Sara, who plays his grandmother.
I was gonna say they cast her really well.
What's crazy is that's Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And she hasn't been in anything in like a long time. So like Mike Flanagan just people give Quentin Tarantino a lot of credit for like bringing actors from obscurity and stuff like that, but like Mike Flanagan does a great job. Nick Offerman
Yeah.
narrating, just
Yeah.
great choice of voice. Um, Tom Hiddleston, who's barely in the movie, um, does kill it, and Benjamin Pajak, who plays Tuck the most
Yeah, the
when he's a
kid.
child,
Yeah. He did
so
really good.
good.
He was really good.
I love this movie, so this is going to probably be high. This is going to be higher on my list.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that you paired this with Gerald's Game, which, to be frank, is actually towards the bottom of my list.
Oh, really?
I even read Gerald's Game this year, and I didn't even love the book that much. I feel like there's a choice made, and it was particularly noticeable watching the movie. I did not like the ending.
So, I'm gonna get there
That
too.
that didn't work for me, and like it took me out of it a decent amount. But I'll let you talk about Gerald's Game first.
Well, yeah, I think like that's the perfect setup because up until the end, Gerald's Game is the movie does a really good job, I think, with the story. And to be honest, like if you watch the movie Gerald's Game, you're probably not going to want to read that book because who wants to put yourself through that
So
scenario? It's
so
so bad.
you read the book, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I I struggled with the book a lot with like how it's all together. And like
It's
honestly,
vibey, which Stephen King gets
I
that
felt
way.
like
It's
it
been
was
a
one of
long
his
time though, too.
I felt like it was one of his cocaine dreams. At
Probably.
times.
Probably.
I think that Gerald's Game works the best when it's just focusing on the fact that like this is a woman handcuffed to a bed and stuck. And
Hmm.
how is she going to get out of this? And also how she got out of that. I did not appreciate watching.
But like they
Oh,
did a good job with that. And I
they
mean, okay,
sure
so
did.
I think like I appreciate, and this is why I think I ended up edging this like above Life of Chuck, is because the up until the end of the movie, which I agree, that did fall flat for me, which is disappointing. Um, but it's because like I it's a weird like afterthought to the story anyway, kind of. But like up until then, it's very much like there is one character in this movie, and it is this
Yeah.
woman. It is her and her versions of her husband and herself and her past.
Yeah.
And she's fighting all of those things, which like is not enjoyable to have to endure in written form. It's not particularly enjoyable to endure as a movie either because it's rough, but like if we're taking the source material and we're like realizing it, I think that the movie does a good job. Um, and like you're kind of on the edge of your seat. Have you ever seen what's the movie with it's Ryan Reynolds and he's just buried
Hurry.
underground. I was gonna say, is it
It's
called Buried?
yeah,
It's like that where like
it
you just
is.
gotta respect that like you don't, I would never watch that movie again, to be clear. Like either of them, because I'm good, right? Like I don't need to put myself through that again. But you do go through it. Like you feel for this woman. The situation is terrible. But
Yeah.
I really think that like he did justice to it. And I don't know, like I get that it's kind of weird that they the place it goes to, but that's Stephen King, man. He doesn't mess around
This
with
is
like
one of the
child abuse and stuff.
Well, I feel like this is one of those films that, yes, I think Mike Flanagan was a little too attached to the source material because I feel like the whole Moonlight Man thing was like, what?
Yeah.
And like I struggled with how that all pieced together into this, but Carla Gugino is so good
She's
in this
incredible.
movie. She is incredible in this. And obviously she has to anchor this whole entire story down because like it's her. It's
Mm-hmm.
like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one's not one of my favorites, and I have it pretty low on my list, but it's interesting because our friend Matt is a huge fan of Gerald's Game too, the movie. And that's definitely been one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know, it just didn't work for me as well. But I love so many of his other films. It's like not everything's gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair. Now I feel like we're really getting into it.
We are. I have one pretty big curveball, I think, which is my
Okay.
next one. And that is another of the movies I don't think you've seen, which is Absentia. So I watched this movie because we were going to have this conversation.
Mhm.
Just threw it on, you know? I forget what platform it's on, but it was just like available. Um, this is one of his early movies. I think it
Mm.
was 2011.
Yeah.
This thing is like bare bones. Like the budget is low. The you can tell that like
You could tell from like the poster
yeah,
and some of this stuff, honestly.
but this movie, in my opinion, I don't know if I was just in the right mood or like what was going on, but like this movie, also I'm pretty sure I watched it like with headphones on. Like it was like not even like the perfect viewing experience. Something about this movie, like it ticked all the boxes for me. And I think it belongs in like with like Creep and these movies
Oh,
that do a lot with like no budget.
a lot with a little.
A whole lot with a little. I mean, the premise very basically, and it's like kind of a dumb sounding premise, but like there's this woman and her husband's been missing for years. And she's finally like decided that she's ready to move on with her life. And so her sister, who has kind of like a tough past herself with like addiction and stuff, comes over to sort of help her like pack up her house and finally leave. And then she's gonna mark her husband as dead in absentia, because he's been missing. But there's something weird going on with like a tunnel near the house where she lives. And then just like things unfold from there. But it's like there's these these women go through like a lot, and you really again, I don't know if maybe I was just in the right mood for this, but I really felt for them. And this is like a low budget thing. You can tell from like the quality and stuff. Like this is not, you know,
Mm.
nearly as crisp as a lot of other stuff, but I still really found myself feeling for these people, all of the characters involved. There's like a fair amount of like emotional turmoil that happens, and it's very authentic to me. And again, the scary is that Mike Flanagan, like unfocused background, like you just don't need a lot. And you never really see the scary things, really.
Yeah.
Like it's so and that's good, right? Because you don't have to. It's way scarier when you don't fully understand what you're dealing with. Um, so yeah, this was like a really good scary movie, in my opinion. And everyone has their own opinion about what makes a good horror movie, but I think people should give this a watch. It is 100% worth like if you just need something to watch, like try it. Maybe you won't like it as much as I did, but I think you'll probably appreciate it for what it is, which is again like a movie that I don't know what the budget on this thing was, but like a bunch of people could have gotten together and made
$5.
this movie. Yeah, like I and some friends could have feasibly made this movie, but the reason I couldn't make this movie is because Flanagan, like the stuff that makes him him shines through here. You've got like good depth and emotion with the characters, a lot of like emotional turmoil, and then yeah, these like subtle scares that creep you out and that keep you on edge throughout the whole movie. So that is my number four movie. Mike Flanagan.
Well,
I
there you
can't
go.
believe I'm saying this.
Well, I will definitely have it on my watch list to check out eventually then.
You have to tell me what you think. I and maybe one of these times we hang out, we can put it on because I would
Sure.
watch it again. Um, okay, so now we're getting look top three, right? We know what they are. It's just a question of the order.
Yep.
Um, so the order is very difficult. All three of these are, in my opinion, like masterpiece level.
Mm.
Um, so number three is narrowly Midnight Mass.
Okay.
But I love Midnight Mass. Like, I don't even have anything bad to say about it. It's just that the other two, in my opinion, are a little bit better.
Mm.
Um, but man, this show it's dark and like it's everything that like House of Usher was, but you also have these emotional connections to these characters. And the Flanagan promise up until the last couple of shows, in my mind, was there has to be at least one or two scenes that will haunt you for the rest of your days. And the scene on the boat is that for me. Like, forget about it. I will never, that lives rent free in my head. I don't want it there, but it will never leave.
This show and why it's not like at the very top of my list, I think is the you do have to really invest in like 5 episodes of this show for this to
Mm,
like build up to the
that's a good
last two
point.
episodes that where this finally gets to where it's going, you're just like, what?
Yeah, true.
And it is terrifying in that way. Hamish Linklater, who is the priest,
Hmm.
like incredible. And then there's so many familiar faces, like Henry Thomas, Robert Longstreet, and
Hmm.
um Rahul Kohi, who's been in a few of
Hmm.
his projects as well, and obviously Kate Siegel's gonna be there.
Hmm.
Um, like this whole town, this community, it gets really fleshed out over the course of this, and then you just feel that investment when this finally gets to where it's going, and you realize, like, holy crap, is this what this has been about this whole entire time?
Yeah.
And not many, like, generally most of his works aren't based off of like crazy twist reveals of like what's really going on here in
Mm,
that kind of way. Like there's a couple episodes of some of his other shows that do have big reveals like well I'm certainly sure we'll reference the hanged woman
yes.
reveal from
Hmm.
Haunting a Hill House.
Hmm.
Like this was such a big like pull the rug out from under you and just be like yep this is what this has been all about the whole time, and it's wild. This is a really great show, and this just shows Mike Flanagan's ability to play around with genre and what kind of story he's telling and to surprise you for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. Very well said. All right. Number two, and I mean, I struggled with this a lot. I really did. But I've decided that my number two is actually The Haunting of Hill House, which I think most people would
Interesting.
disagree with. Uh, but again, The Haunting of Hill House is a perfect show. Like, I don't have complaints about it. It's just that I think with The Haunting of Bly Manor, Flanagan pushed himself a little bit more. And again, The Haunting of Hill House is complicated. Like it's not like I mean it's not linear, it's dancing all over the place, and yet it seamlessly weaves these people's narratives and lives together. Yes, the bent neck lady reveal is truly something that I can never, ever, ever forget and never will forget. I remember where I was, like, and how I felt. Like, it's so shattering. Um, and just so excellent, like how deeply, again, you care about these characters, how devastated you are by the things that they go through. Like each one of them, it takes the time to really give you these feelings about all of them. Um, it is an incredible show, and I adore it. And I plan to watch it again soon if I can because it deserves that. I don't rewatch shows, but I will rewatch this.
This is Haunting a Hill House is a show that again, I don't rewatch shows either. There's just too many shows and they take up way too much time. This is a show I want to go back and rewatch because I want to be able to go back and find all of those ghosts
Yes.
that have just been lurking in the background the whole entire time. And I'll have to say, so the that woman, that was emotionally devastating to find out what that really was going on. And then some of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in any movie or show happened in this show. When they're at the funeral home and
Mm,
there's
mm,
too many bodies
hmm.
standing there, and
Yep. Yep.
you're just like, no. And then, and then, and then that jump scare in the car.
I know. My
I
soul left my body.
I don't think I had this scared shitless watching something so badly because it came out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Uncalled for.
It was evil. That's what it was.
It's actually though, you gotta respect there's such a mixture of like it's not just cheap jump scares. There's like a lot
No.
of like slow building horror, a lot
Yeah.
of like it's there but you're nervous about it horrors. There's stuff in the background. Like he's pulling out all the stops.
Mm. It's I like my thoughts is like I think it's the best horror show ever made.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, they don't make a whole lot of horror shows. I think most horror projects wind up being movies.
Yeah.
But it's another level of scary for me. But so why is Blind Manor your number one then?
So, and again, like this really was very difficult, but I was thinking about it and I do, I like, I like when things get a little experimental. Um, I enjoy that. I think that was off-putting for quite a few people with this show. Like the way it was told, it got weird. Um, but I'm into that. It's like how most people would say, I think Get Out is Peele's best movie, and then Us got weird, and I'm over here being like, I like Us more. Which you
I
know
love
that
Us.
about me. I do, you're right.
So
It's like, and again, like Get Out is a fantastic movie. Like I'm not even saying that it doesn't deserve all the love it
yeah.
gets, because it does. It's an excellent movie. But I like when we're challenged, when the viewer is like challenged. Um, and that show, it had the same amount of emotional intensity in my mind. Um, whereas I think Hill House was more about familial love. I think Bly Manor was a lot more about romantic love.
Yep.
And I was like, while I was very much, devastated by the dissolution of this family in Hill House, in Bly Manor, you had a couple different bombshell moments where you realize people who loved each other are being torn apart. And I am, Shane knows this about me. I don't do like rom-coms. I'm not a
Yeah.
romance genre person. it's because normally I find that those things are like fake and I'm just not into it. I'm not into like love stories because I think they're
Yeah.
cliche. But the love in this show rang so true to me for some reason, and it was just really, really sad to see those relationships torn up by this place. And so it felt more like a classic haunting in that there was something wrong with this place, and then
Yeah.
people keep coming and getting lost to it.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, just to think about the fact that my understanding is this is based on the Turn of the Screw, which is like an old story. I've read
Yeah.
it, but like this is an insane interpretation. That very
Well,
basic ghost story.
that is something that Flanagan does a great job is reimagining a source
Yes.
material, which that's so interesting because so many of his shows are such sh interesting reimaginings of things. And then you have something like Life of Chuck, which is like literally beat for beat
Yeah.
exactly what the source material is. But no, this was this was a bold film,
Yes.
a bold series. Probably why this one doesn't isn't as high as some of the other ones for me. I think this one took a little bit longer for me to get into. Like
Mm,
it was not as consistent for me in terms of like I loved every single episode of Haunting a Hill House.
mm,
And this one, there were some episodes where it didn't quite get me there, but there's some amazing episodes of this show. That one particular episode, and it's been a while since I've watched this, so I'm trying to piece together exactly. There was a reveal about the fate of one particular
yep.
character that we didn't realize the whole entire time. And I'm like, "What?"
I think a
And
lot of people don't like that episode because they find it confusing, but I loved that. I thought
that
that
was one
was
of the
like,
best parts of the show.
yes,
Like,
exactly.
hands down, one of the best parts of the show. And that was wild. I remember watching this and just blowing my mind. Just being like, what did I just watch?
Yes.
That's crazy. And that's what I want. I want him to get back to doing shows like this.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrie is a much more like oddly straightforward kind of story. And I'll be interested to see how he puts his spin on that. I cannot wait for him to get around to doing the Dark Tower saga,
Oh,
though.
he's the man for the job. But it is like his handling of King's material, I think he does need to branch out. Like he really actualized like his abilities in this where he had such a bare bones story to like I think you saying reinvent was the perfect word for it. He added so much stuff and um I think also why I agree with you that it's a slower start. Like Hill House drops you in there from the first second you are in it and you do not stop being in it. This one takes a little longer, but I actually think it's very like it was pretty consistently scary and it went really hard in the stuff in the background, which
Yes.
again, that's like Flanagan's calling card, but it's effective. Like I don't get tired of that. I think it works really well. And then one other thing I respect a lot about Bly Manor, and not everyone might agree with this, but I found normally when you see the scary thing, you're like, okay, I'm not scared anymore. I don't know, that lady, she was still scary. Like we saw her and I'm like, I am not comforted by knowing what she is.
There were a lot of bone-chilling moments for me watching Bly Manor.
Yes. So I would say that this one, I don't want to say it's scarier because Hill House was quite scary, but in a way, like I think it was more consistently scary. So even before I knew how invested I was going to get with all the characters, I was just enjoying myself as like a horror fan watching like
Yeah.
a spooky thing. Like I thought that it was good. I remember, you know, the the au pair character who sees the reflection of the there's like some reflections she sees early on. Those are like jump scares, but they're like you're like, who's this guy? Like, what is going on? And it's yeah, I don't know. I think it's quite scary, which was that's why I start. It might not be why I stay, but it's why I start.
Yeah.
So I'm in it for the scary stuff, and I think Bly Manor. might have been consistently scarier.
Oh my God, his he's made some amazing shows for sure. And
Truly.
in my humble opinion, he's made some amazing films too, which he is one of my favorite filmmakers at this point.
Hmm.
But here's my breakdown.
Let's see.
So at the bottom we have Midnight Club.
Yep.
Um, this is probably one of the biggest diversions from your list. I have Gerald's Game second to
Fair
last.
enough.
That one just did not work for me. And then Hush,
Hmm.
Oculus, The
Hmm.
Fall of the House of Usher,
Hmm.
Ouija, Origin of Evil.
Nice.
I actually had Blind Manor,
Hmm.
Midnight Mass, The Life of Chuck,
Hmm.
'cause I love that. The Haunting of Hill House, and my number one's Doctor Sleep.
Dang. All
So
right.
I only know one other person who loves Doctor Sleep as much as I do, and it's my buddy Rowan. But I love this movie, and I need to watch the 3 hour director's cut because the regular film is 2.5 hours. I ate this up because my favorite horror film of all time is The Shining.
Right, right.
And Mike Flanagan had one of the hardest jobs imaginable, which is take Stephen King's novel and take Stanley
Kubrick's
Kubrick's film
magnum
and make a
opus.
sequel
Yeah,
to both of them.
right.
Because there's some seismic changes that Kubrick made to The Shining that
Yes.
makes the book Doctor Sleep very different than the movie Doctor Sleep. Because one of the biggest things is, for those who don't know, the ending of The Shining is they blow up the boiler and blow up the Overlook.
Yep.
That doesn't happen in this. And Nick Halloran didn't die in the book,
Mm-hmm.
and he did in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
pretty unceremoniously, but
Oh yeah.
very shockingly. So how do you do that? Danny sees Dick through the shine
Mm.
as like a ghost, and Carl Lumley is so good in that role. Ewan McGregor is so good in this. I immediately fell in love with Rebecca Ferguson as an actor because of Rose the Hat. She is one of the best villains I think I've seen in any movie. She is alluring, she is terrifying, and she is so good in this. Kylie Curran, who plays Abra, the young girl who has the shine
Mm.
that Danny connects with, she's great. Um, you have Rose the Hat's whole group of people, like Robert Longstreet's there. Um, Carol Strucken, who's the Moonlight guy, like the really humongous guy who's like an
Mm.
actual guy that's that humongous, is one of them. Grandpa Flick. Their whole entire community is terrifying. There is a scene with Jacob Tremblay where they eat his shine. That is one of the most terrifying and unnerving experiences I've had watching a movie in a theater. And this, how they incorporate, like, I know some people thought it was kind of easy how they incorporated the Overlook into the third act of this, but it's chilling going back there and seeing Danny walking through this place and what happens in the
Mm.
climax of this movie. This movie nailed it for me. And this made me really fall in love with Mike Flanagan. I'm like, I will watch anything this man makes. And he did the damn near impossible of making a satisfying sequel to both versions of The Shining.
That's awesome. Well, now I need to move that book a little higher up on my list so I can also watch. But like, oh man,
You
there's so
have
many
it.
things I cause oh yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's so bad. I
I
have
would
so
have
many
lent
of
it to
them.
you if you did not. So
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I have a lot of them. I just try truly I have reading goals for myself, but
yep.
if I did not
I
have a
know.
reading goal, I would just only read Stephen King all the time, and I need to like, you know, one for my mental health, I cannot read only Stephen King all the time.
I'm not gonna lie, I've read a lot of Stephen King in the past 3 years.
Listen,
Um,
he knows what he's doing. Like, that man can weave a yarn.
I've read a ridiculous amount of Stephen King and Kurt Vonnegut in the past 3 years. So,
That it's actually kind of good. I feel like if you do like a Stephen King, a Kurt Vonnegut, and then a Terry Pratchett, and then another Stephen King, like you could rotate those three, and like probably your soul would heal enough after the Kurt Vonnegut and then the the Terry Pratchett to go back and do another Stephen King.
but that is our ranking of Mike Flanagan's works, and we'll have Carrie coming up soon, and eventually The Dark Tower. And I'll be interested to see if he ventures back into any films soon or
Hmm.
anything. I know he's doing some good work, mentoring Chris Stuckman and bringing Shelby Oaks to life, which I really liked it a lot, and I hope people go check it out, show it some love. But Haley, thank you so much for coming on and chatting some Mike Flanagan with me.
Thank you for the opportunity. I mean, I truly, first of all, I ended up watching like three more movies that I hadn't seen before just for this
There you
opportunity,
go.
and most of them are really solid. So
There you go. And thank all of you out there for always tuning in, supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.